So I just had an epiphany. And I want to get my thoughts out there before I forget them, first of all, but also to express and explain to people, because I think this is going to help a lot of people really understand truly the best way to help your dog out in every sense of the word. So as many of y'all know, I am a TWC student. I've been learning from Ivan for the last year and a half, and the information that he provides is unlike anything else. But there's so much. I mean, it's a 10-week course, but I've been studying it, the ins and outs of it, for a year and a half. There's so much information that for somebody who hasn't gone through the course, it would be like damn near impossible for me to really summarize just everything that it entails. But I try to just brainstorm and think on a daily basis, almost like, what is the best way that I can explain what we do, why it's so different, but why it's so beneficial for these dogs than your traditional training systems or ideologies. So a common phrase that I hear a lot of not only trainers, but a lot of the general public say is like, if there's a dog with a problem, one of the go-to sentences is like, oh, sounds like that dog needs a job. And almost always that job, which I don't even really know what the hell that means. I used to say it, so I'm guilty of it, but I could never actually explain to you what I meant by that. But 99% of the time when people say that, obedience is like the first thing that comes to mind. And I know not everybody knows this, but I have realized obedience is not the fix-all, cure-all for everything. It's important, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of things, a lot of issues that dogs have that cannot be fixed by obedience. There's a lot more to it. It deals with the emotions of the dog and changing potentially how they feel about certain things, and obedience doesn't do that. The biggest, most concise takeaway that I have gotten from the course, Ivan stresses that dogs don't need jobs, but they need a purpose. And kind of the phrase that he markets a lot is make your dog somebody. There's a whole course on it. And I've really, I won't say stolen that mindset, but I say it a lot now because it's just the best way to describe like what dogs truly need. And it's to figure out what it is in this life that they love so incredibly much and allowing them to actually do it because it's going to benefit them internally so much more than any amount of obedience. But the human example that I thought of yesterday, because I'm always trying to think of human examples. I understand dogs very well, but not everybody does. And so the human analogies really kind of help them at least like get to a similar place as I am, but with their dogs. But what I realized yesterday is I've met a lot of women in my life, obviously, and some of them I might have met in high school, some of them I met as an adult, but surprisingly, I know personally a lot of women that have fertility issues, and they were at an age where they are wanting to become a mom, they're wanting to have kids and build a family, and if they do fall into that boat of having some sort of a fertility issue that they can't conceive, or maybe I have a lot of friends that have had miscarriages, and I know it's devastating to those people because when they feel like their one true purpose in this life is to be a mom, to have kids and to raise those kids and build a family, but there is an external factor, like those bodily issues are not something that's within their control, but it creates so many emotional issues because it's denying them from having that thing that they truly want more than anything, which is a baby. These are not my own words and my opinions because personally, I don't want kids of my own, so it's not anything that I can comprehend at all. I do empathize with it, but what I have heard a lot of those women say and like expressing what they're going through, a lot of anxiety stems from that. A lot of depression stems from that. They just feel they feel empty. They feel like something's missing from their life and that they can't fulfill that true purpose. I've even seen multiple women, not just one, but multiple, say, like, I don't understand. This is the one thing that my body as a woman is supposed to be able to do, and it won't do that. Like, why won't mine? Am I broken? They start to kind of question their whole identity, and it just really spirals from there. Again, it's nothing. These are not my words. These are just things that I'm regurgitating that I have seen online. It's nothing that I understand from a personal standpoint, but I get it. Forgive me, my thoughts are kind of like all over the place because I'm thinking out loud and I'm just recording. But I see a lot of those same feelings and issues in dogs for the same reason, not the same exact reason, but the whole lacking a purpose concept. And when you get a dog, I'm just, as a blanket statement, going to use like breed as an easier way to understand this, but like if you get a cattle dog that Mother Nature has told it, like, this is what you're meant to do in life, and you don't allow it to do that or something similar to that, you get a lot of issues that come from that. Or if you get a German Shepherd, a Rottweiler, a Malinois, one of these kind of powerful dogs that you don't allow it to bite something in a controlled context and with rules, that they don't know that that's their favorite thing to do. But again, Mother Nature is like, this is your destiny. This is what I have created you for. And when you don't allow them to express that, you get a lot of the same emotions. You get dogs that feel very anxious. They lack a lot of confidence. They can also get depressed. They become like just so neurotic sometimes that they start to become very aggressive or extremely fearful. There's kind of both ends of the spectrum there, all stemming from the fact that they don't get to do what they are meant to do, and that the external factor that's preventing that more often than not is the owner. And it's because they don't know. Like, everybody's idea of training goes back to the obedience, and it's like training has become such a tidal wave that just overpowers something as simple as just letting the dog live its damn life. Like, everyone's so focused on loose leash walking and counter conditioning, desensitizing, keeping a dog under threshold, staying on place for 2 hours. Like, none of that is fulfilling to a dog. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you're not going to build a dog's confidence by doing all of that stuff. You've got to get them out and play. You've got to get them out and exploring the world, interacting with the world, not being neutral to it. Interacting with the world and realizing there is nothing to be super afraid of, or there is no reason to be super aggressive and angry towards complete strangers. That purpose is so important that you allow the dog to discover it. Maybe you don't know what it is, and that's where it's kind of like you just let the dog figure it out and show you what they love doing. And then you insert yourself into that and you say, hey, you like this? Cool. I'm going to encourage the hell out of you to do it, but we're going to add rules to it so that you're not just doing it whenever you want to or wreaking havoc to do it. We're going to make it something that's very constructive. And I don't even know if this makes sense. Let me know if I'm like so far off my rocker that it only makes sense to me. It might actually just be batshit crazy. But I just feel like that does make a lot of sense because you get a lot of the same emotions as far as a dog who's just miserable in life because you're so focused on training them and you're like, do this, and this for me and never do that, and that. You never look at like, hey, what do you enjoy doing? How can we make this our thing instead of your thing? Because a lot of the natural things that dogs are meant to do that people don't allow them to do, when you don't allow it, it's still going to come out. It's going to happen, but it's going to be at a time that you're not prepared for and probably a moment that it's not ideal. You don't want it to happen in that moment. If the dog wants to run around and you leave the front door open and he's like, holy hell, this is my chance. I'm going to run around like a screaming banshee because I never get to do this stuff. there's a chance they're going to run out into the road, and then you're SOL if that dog gets hit by a car. But if you give the dog the opportunity with you, you go out into an open field and you're like, dude, run around to your heart's content. We've trained for this. Train for it. We've trained for this. I can allow you to do it because I have the knowledge and the tools to keep you safe, but allow you to do something that you absolutely love. I hope this changes everything for even just one person, of like having a better understanding of their dog, because if more people understood that, we would not have all the issues that we do with dogs in America, at least. I'm sure it's just as bad in other countries, but I can only speak for here. We will see a lot of those go away if we stop having such a heavy emphasis on obedience, and we allow the dogs to just live their damn lives with something that they can look forward to every day. So if this makes sense to you, cool. Like, we're on the same wavelength here, and I greatly appreciate that. If it doesn't, I guess help me think of a better way to explain this stuff. If I can help more people, that's all I want in life, is to help people connect with their dogs better, so that less of them are dying, less of them are having behavioral problems, less of them are just like have no idea how to navigate this world. I want them to have the skills and the knowledge to be able to do that, like civilized, level-headed dogs with good mental health, I guess, like they should, like they deserve.